Hello, beautiful people. So, y'all already know that anytime I have a grand epiphany, I like to share it with you all. So, here we go. So, I recently came back from Mexico and I literally have had the most amazing time in Mexico. It's a beautiful city, it's a beautiful place. I also went to Yucatan, and while I was at Yucatan, I visited this place called Chichen Itza. And when I tell you, Chichen Itza changed my life. About 2 or 3 months ago, I started my own personal spiritual journey on fully understanding everything that I am. And I started questioning a lot of things, especially when it came to my spirituality. Um, I started, studying more when it came to my ancestors, and I also studied more when it came to chakras. Because I'm always seeing numbers. I always see numbers. I always see the same number, and I always have the same energy when it came to that particular thing. And I couldn't really learn that in the traditional places. So I asked God about what I should do. Praying, I decided to hold off, going to traditional churches, um, and just fully start dissecting exactly what God's voice sounded like to me. Now, granted, I already knew what God's voice sounded like to me, but I wanted to strengthen that voice that I was feeling and I was hearing. And I was like, God, I need your guidance because right now I want to be able to be used by you 100%. And I want to be able to hear you, feel you, understand you in so many ways possible. And I don't want to limit myself to just going to the traditional church because I've been going to traditional church for years and I feel like something is still missing. So I leaned on God for more understanding. So, and I want to say this just so you can see how dope God is. So, I was dating this individual. It was going great, and we planned on going to Cancun together. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. God was like, I still want you to go to Cancun. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Cancun and I'm gonna make it a eat, love, slave, pray trip. You know what I mean? Focusing more on myself. You know what I mean? I work real hard. I work all the time. So this was a great opportunity for me to relax and to get to know myself all over again. So when I touched base in Cancun, I stayed at a resort called Temptation. It was different. It was a different experience. It was a very freeing place. I can tell you that. Um, Being at this particular resort definitely gave me a lot of confidence in myself. Confidence I didn't even know that I needed. You know what I mean? I've always had great confidence in myself, but seeing other people have confidence in themselves and it's like, oh, okay, God, all right, okay, I see. When I first touched down in Cancun, I knew I wanted to do a tour. I'm really big on learning the culture of different places, and I knew that once I was in Mexico, I wanted to learn more about the city, and I decided to do this 12-hour tour to Chichen Itza and other local areas in Mexico. It was an amazing tour. um, the tour guide was amazing. I love her so much. She was very spiritual too. I sensed her in the spirit, and the way she talked, it was very aligned on what I felt. When we landed in Chichen Itza, it was a beautiful area. The greenery was beautiful. I'm really big on plants, and everything about it was just like, this is like home. This is beautiful. Um, as the tour guide, told us about the land and about the culture and about the people there, there was I don't want to call him a shaman, priest, whatever you want to call him. He was there pretty much introducing us to his land and talking about his ancestors and what he do. Um, he also, encouraged us if we did want to pray or to be cleansed, we're welcome to be cleansed. I felt like I needed to. I felt an urge to do it. Once he started praying over me, I immediately began to wail. I started crying immediately. Like I felt God's presence there. And I was so grateful because I was letting go of every little thing that I thought I let go. I just felt the release, you know what I mean? It felt so amazing. They provided lunch for us. I ate. After I finished eating, I decided to walk to the cenote, and it's pretty much a spring that people were swimming in. And I was looking at all the greenery, and the priest saw me again, and the priest um, directed me to a trail that nobody else was on. It had a red rope, and he wanted me to follow him. He's like, I want you to come with me. And he sent me down this beautiful trail that was ancient. I wish I recorded it, but I wanted to live in the moment. I didn't want to be distracted by recording. So as I was walking down this ancient trail, which was so beautiful, like the steps were like multiple rocks, you know what I mean? I was watching where I walked at, and he led me to what I felt like was a sanctuary. And he's pretty much describing how his ancestors prayed and worshiped back there. It was a very beautiful scenery. I did make a clip. I may add it into this so you can see what I saw. But he pretty much told me to continue crying, continue to purge, continue to, free myself. And I did. I completely freed myself. He brought me back some water from the cenote, and I cleansed myself with the water. I walked out of that sanctuary feeling so free and so complete, realizing that God is everywhere. God is in you. So wherever you are, that's where God is going to be. And being in that place in Yucatan was in Chichen Itza, it was life changing because it showed me that God is me and I am God. Understand that God is not limited to just being in a building, not limited to being in one place, because He's God, He's everywhere. So after I left the sanctuary, I was with a group of 40 people, and they were at the tequila tasting. So it was filled with people around the bar, and God told me to go sit in front of the bar. So I excused myself around other people, and I sat right in front of the bar, did my samplings of all of the different types of tequila, which were amazing, by the way. Nothing like tequila here. It's very sweet, very smooth. I did buy 2 bottles because my sister definitely recommended that I get some, and I did. But while I was sitting at the bar, everybody began to leave. And as I picked out my choices, I noticed on the bar it was my birthday engraved in the bar, 1118. And in that moment, I realized I'm supposed to be here. God has a unique way of showing us that we are right where we need to be at the right time. And the most unique thing about it all is that if I didn't meet that guy, and if he didn't choose to take me to Cancun, I would have never went to Cancun. I would have never experienced what I experienced. And I thank God for his voice being loud enough for me to hear him say, go anyway. Just because it didn't go the way you planned on it going, I still want you to go, and I need you to be there. And it was the best experience I ever had in my life. And it just shows me how awesome God is. And he can be anywhere. I don't have to limit God. What I'm feeling is accurate. It's okay for me to study chakras. It's okay for me to understand astrology. It's okay for me to talk to different cultures. It's okay for me to talk to different people. It's okay because God is everywhere. God is everywhere. The voice of God became louder in my ear. I went back to that resort feeling brand new. I got dressed up and went to an angel party. The music sucked, but I was there for a purpose. And another young lady who felt the way I felt before about church hurt, about people judging her because her and her husband wanted to come to a resort and have a good time, her worrying about what her family going to think, what the family going to say. I was like, sis, I love your family, but bump your family. Love your husband and enjoy yourself in this space because God is with you wherever you go. And I realized in that moment that I was at this place, not for the party, but to talk to this woman. So I'm saying all this to say this. If God tells you to do something, do it. Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it doesn't really make sense to you, if you know what God's voice sounds like to you, then be obedient to that voice. Because that voice could be a blessing more than you even know. And now I'm friends with the shaman / priest or whatever you want to call him. He writes and checks up on me, and he tells me that I am a warrior. And I know I am. And apparently I'm a medicine woman, which also lines up with what I hear, feel, and sense people around me all the time. something else had to come in and step in and say, this is who you are. This is how you operate. This is how God can continue to use you. I will forever be grateful for this place. And the beautiful thing he told me is that I will always be home. I am no longer a guest. So if I ever visit Mexico again, or Yucatan, or Chichen Itza, guess what? I have a home there. I'm happy, y'all. Don't let nobody tell you how you should walk your spiritual journey. Let God be the one to guide you and nobody else. Listen for his voice. Pay attention for his voice. And be obedient. It's that simple.